right, here we go. Welcome back to Let's Talk on Purpose, the podcast where we have real, raw, and purpose filled conversations that remind you to trust the process and walk boldly in who you were created to be. I'm your host, Dr. Shunte, and today's episode hits real deep, y'all. I know it's been a minute. That's because your girl just she been going through some things right now, and so I'm excited to kind of talk about it and share. This topic of this episode is called the cost of obedience to walk in purpose. You see, everyone loves the idea of purpose, but not everyone wants to pay the price that comes along with walking it out. Obedience isn't always glamorous. Sometimes it means walking alone. Sometimes it means releasing what feels comfortable so you can receive what's meant for you. In this episode, I want to have a heart to heart conversation about what obedience really costs emotionally, spiritually, and even financially, and why it's still worth it. So grab your journal, get comfortable, and let's talk on purpose. This is exciting, may get a little emotional because this has definitely been a season like, whew, can we be that stretch? The purpose is definitely refined. This is, like I said, has definitely been a journey. So here's what I want you to remember: obedience may cost you something, but disobedience will cost you everything. And when I tell you, a peace of mind means more to me than anything in this entire world. It does, y'all. But when your spirit is troubled and you're just trying to figure out, like, okay, God, like you say, you know how much we can bear, Lord. Like this burden is getting heavy. Lord, is becoming a lot. It can become overwhelming. But God, like even in that, like I still trust you. Just know that every time you say yes to what God has called you to do, you make room for new blessings, new strength, and new clarity. Obedience isn't about perfection, it's about action, it's about positioning. And I'm going to share a little bit more with you about that as well. So if you've been hesitant to take that next step, let this be your confirmation. Your obedience is the key to unlocking your next level of purpose. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If this conversation speaks to you, please make certain that you reach out to me, send me a DM, send me a message, inbox me, go to my website, and just let me know how this particular episode just resonated with your spirit. If there's someone that you feel like this message or this episode can help, please feel free to share this episode with them to give them encouragement to keep walking in faith. So here we go. Let's move on to it. Whew, yeah. Let's unpack this thing. The call and the choice. The call and the choice. So my first question is, what does obedience to purpose look like in my life right now? Y'all, like I said, your girl has been on a sabbatical. I have clocked out for 5 minutes from a lot of things, honestly, and even some people, like a lot of people. It doesn't have to be anything like wrong. Like I have some good girlfriends. I was like, girl, we're gonna hop on a call. We have not hopped on a call yet, and it's been just limited conversation because I've just needed this time to make certain because I know sometimes, I don't know for you, but for me, it's like, okay, God, like I know I heard your voice. We talk all the time, so I know your voice. But Lord, was I hearing something when you told me to do X, Y, and Z? And so I've been in that space. I've been needing to just hear whatever God is telling me to do right now. And so this obedience in this season right now, I can honestly say has whooped my behind. But your girl is back up. The reason why I am recording this podcast today. I know that on the other side of this podcast is my next level. I'm gonna be honest with you. I'm just on my third episode. I started recording these episodes back in June. I released 2 episodes and then I stopped. I got busy, got distracted. Just honestly became, it wasn't even that I wasn't getting a following or an audience. I just became unmotivated, like for whatever reason. And so when things were honestly in those first 2 episodes, God, I like you got to do this. Like there's somebody that needs your story, somebody needs to hear what it's like to truly walk in your purpose. And so God told me, like, on the other side of this, it's going to be your next level. It's going to be your speaking engagements. It's going to be your conferences, your workshops, your summits, your panelists, your coaching clients, your coaching groups, your experiences, all those things is going to require you to be obedient and committed and consistent to this podcast. And I stopped. And when I tell y'all, since I stopped, your girl has been getting her behind whooped. So I'm back at it because I know that there's somebody that needs my story, somebody that needs to hear my journey, and somebody, again, like I said, this is real, raw, and uncut conversation. And so I knew that I needed to get back on here today. And so that's what it looks like for me right now. Have there been times when walking in obedience felt uncomfortable or unpopular? Absolutely. I could tell you, and I said I'll share in a future episode, like, to walk into 2025, my year that I themed freedom. I knew how I wanted to feel. I knew how I felt walking into 2025. I'm like, oh, I'm like a free bird, just flying out here in these streets, just doing my thing, listening to God. And then I kind of got off track. You know what I'm saying? Like, I got off track and I got a little bit unfocused because I had other things happening in my life, and it wasn't anything that was like, bad. It was just life just was happening. And so I kind of like just kind of fell to the wayside and kind of got, I would say, just kind of stuck a little bit in where I was. And so being stuck a little bit, it also made me feel uncomfortable. And so, as a Capricorn and as a person that has had to feel like I'm in control and make decisions and be very calculated, to walk by faith and not by sight for real, allowed for me to feel very uncomfortable, because I didn't know my next step. I didn't know anything. And one good girlfriend of mine, my friend Nicole, told me the other day, she said, Shante, at this point, you just need to put one foot in front of the other. As long as you just put one foot in front of the other and just keep moving and don't stop, it's going to work out. And as I'm talking and I'm sharing, I'm also looking over here on my wall where I have, I went to a paint and sip, and it's a lady with legs and some heels on it, says, "Oh Lord, order my steps." And I'm just like, what does it really mean for God to really order your steps? It's not just a surrender, because I went through my surrendering phase and I've been in the surrender this year, but I could be honest to say, in my surrendering, I also wasn't completely obedient to some of the other things that God wanted me to do. So now I'm in a surrender, and your girl is in obedience right now, because I'm like, okay, God, I know my next level, and it's not tangible things. Like, those things will come, but it's the freedom of truly, truly doing what it is that God has called me to do, being fearless and faithful at the same time. And I just know that in this obedience is gonna come the clarity, the next things that God has wanted me to do in terms of ministry. And so, yes, it has been uncomfortable, but I have to do what I have to do, because I know that on the other side of this is somebody's deliverance, somebody's ability to be set free from corporate America jobs, from your family, even from your religious beliefs. I didn't say your faith in God. I said your religious beliefs, those things that have kept you bound because of the lack of, how do I want to say this lightly? The lack of proper interpretation of what God has said to you, and God holding you accountable to what God has called you to do, and the understanding of what the scripture says. And so some of us have gotten caught up in this space of belief systems based on somebody else's belief and not what the word of God says. And I'm gonna leave that alone because I'm gonna get in trouble here. But let me leave that alone. But I'm gonna come back and dig in that in a few. But maybe not this episode. But anyhow, I just wanted to share that. The next question just says, how do I recognize when God or purpose is calling me to move, even when I don't feel ready? If you feel a little hesitant or a lot of hesitant, if you feel like, oh my God, this is bigger than me, that's God. That's purpose. Because God is calling us to do something bigger and greater than ourselves. God is calling us to do a God thing. That is your purpose. And it is scary. It causes a little fear. it causes you to be hesitant, but that's when you know, like, that is God calling you to move, even when you don't feel ready. I'm telling you, God will prepare you on your way to your next. And so that is honestly what God is allowing me to walk through in this very moment. And so I can say, like, I'm not a hypocrite. I'm not telling you something that somebody told me. I'm telling you something that I'm actually walking through, or in certain things I've already walked through. And so that is the reason why I'm going to throw a plug in here that, again, I tell people all the time, I'm not everybody's coach and everybody's not my client. Just like you're interviewing me to be your coach, I'm also interviewing you to see if you are the right client, a right fit for me. And that's okay. But let's just talk about it. If you are interested in understanding what coaching is actually, what it is, what it's like, and not only what it is and what it's like, but what it's like to be coached by me, you can visit my website. I am offering, I have two different things going on right now. I have a 30-minute discovery call that you can hop on with me just to learn a little bit more about what life coaching is, and then for us to kind of like talk about a couple things. And I'm also offering a coaching special, a $99 coaching special right now for a limited time only. If you go to my website, it's www.purposed lifecoaching.com to learn more about that free discovery call or that $99 coaching special. It's a $200 value. Time is valuable, and I am choosing to value my time a lot better. And so I'm sharing with you to say, hey, if this is something that you're interested in, if you want to see what a session is like, definitely hop on that $99 coaching special because it will not last for long. I am only doing it for a limited time just because I understand what it's like to say, hey, I just need somebody to talk to. I need to know if this is something I need to pursue. I need to understand the difference between coaching and therapy and what does that actually look like. So again, visit my website, www.purposelifecoaching.com, to learn more about me, about your discovery call, about your $99 coaching special, and other services that I am offering. So I wanted to throw that out there. So now I'm going to move on to the next question. It says, what fears or distractions try to make me delay obedience? What fears or distractions try to make me delay obedience? I'm not going to even say fear because, as I mentioned before, at a couple of my different events that I've hosted, like, I'm not afraid anymore. I'm like the little kid on Home Alone. I'm not afraid anymore. But when I can talk to you about these distractions, they will come in multiple ways. They will come in all hell breaking loose all around you in everybody's lives. And when you are that go to person, the hell that's breaking through in their life, honestly, breaks through in your life as well. And so what happens is because of a person like me that's an empath, the person that's me, that's the go-to person for a lot of people, then it becomes a part of what I'm experiencing as well. I may not be carrying it, but I'm experiencing because that's how I feel when I'm connected to people. And so their journey honestly becomes a little bit of my journey as well. And so I have had to take some time just to do some self care, some reflection. So I'm allowing my cup to be filled back up so that I can be able to be support to those people that are around me. And so I just wanted to be able to share like those distractions. Those distractions come in bills, like you're like, okay, I got to get out here. I got to make some money, especially those that can relate that are solopreneurs, entrepreneurs, multiple business owners. It is a lot when you're having to carry your own weight at times. Now, do understand, yes, God is here. God is Jehovah Jireh, my provider. He also has given me gifts and talents in which He has given me the space and ability to create income for myself. God is my source, but He's given us resources to be able to do that. So, those bills are rolling in, and some things are unexpected. I have a senior this year, so we got senior fees, we got senior dues, we got senior pictures, we got all this stuff happening. And then because this is my first, y'all know it's on a whole nother level. So, because I want her to be able to do all the things. Not only does she I want her to have them, but she also deserves them as well. And so, of course, that's coming with additional financial obligations. And so it's coming in the ways of, again, like, we all talking about, oh, we want to be outside. Well, I'm trying to be outside, but also I got to be able to be responsible adult and a parent to take care of these things. And so, of course, I'm getting all these calls about concerts and shows and this, and or whatever. And I'm like, Lord, like your girl want to be outside. However, I got things I got to take care of as well. And so I do know that those things have delayed me in being obedient. And then just because my plate has been full, I haven't been obedient, honestly, to this podcast as well. Because on Sundays, I mean, outside of just doing other things, and during the week, y'all, I'm tired. And then I don't know about y'all, like, I don't think I'm in perimenopause, but those that are in perimenopause, menopause and postmenopause, y'all don't understand. Man, y'all don't understand. This thing is for real. And so your girl be having to take a nap every day. And if I don't have my nap every day, I am tired. And then I have to feel like I got to go to sleep early. So I'm just sharing with you. So those are just some of the distractions that I have experienced that I know that has caused me to be delayed in my obedience. And so that's that. So here we go. I'm going to talk a little bit about what have I had to give up or walk away from to stay obedient to my purpose. Ah, all right. So many of you all may know that I am a state provider, was a state provider. And with that, I've had a contract for the last 10 years. I've had some really, really great years that have been multi-million dollar years. I have some years that have been 50 something $1,000 years. Nevertheless, the company has made really great money. I've had amazing staff that I've had to pay. I've had a rolling budget just because of fiscal challenges with the state or government at times, invoices being processed or whatever. And so this is where I share, because I didn't even know this was one of my questions, but hey, here we go, y'all. I have decided, not only just because I know this is what I'm supposed to do, but I also have known this is what I was supposed to have done for the last couple of years. To come into 2025, I knew that God was calling me to greater with purpose life. And so the the thing came to where God was like, hey, Shunte, Dr. Shunte, Dr. House, it is time for you to give up that contract. And I'm like, say what? Say what? Huh? Although your girl was tired of pushing paper and those things, I absolutely love my individuals. I absolutely love the work of working with people. But I also knew that God was calling me to greater. And so with that, I decided to basically give up my state contract this year. And so it has been definitely tight but right. God has definitely provided. I thank God for my village of family and friends, aunties and uncles that have come into my life that aren't blood related but God related, and all the things. I thank God for the provision that God has made to continue to sustain my daughters and I as I am moving into fully into my purpose and what God has called me to do. Again, being an entrepreneur, having my business, the first business since 2008, to completely working for myself since 2013. Yeah, that's 12 years of, listen, if I don't do it, it ain't gonna get done. I'm telling y'all, this thing is not for the weak. If you don't have some resilience, some persistency, some faith, some blood, some sweat, and some tears to be able to walk this thing out and a village of people around you to help carry you when you can't even carry yourself, just do something different. Do something different. Ask God, like, okay, God, clearly define what my purpose is and what I'm supposed to be doing. And so that is a very huge thing that I had to give up and walk away from. Now, let me tell you this. I had the state administrators asking me, "Are you sure you prayed about it? Are you sure that's what God wants you to do?" Because that is how amazing of a provider my company has been and the staff that has worked with me in order to support the individuals that we service. They asked me to pray about it. They came back and said, okay, we'll give you more money. Like, this is for real. And this wasn't no $5, it was a couple $100,000 in this contract. But even with that, I said, okay, God, not my will, but that will be done. And so I'm like, okay, I'm truly walking by faith and I'm not walking by sight, but God, I need you. And so with that, that is something I've had to give up and walk away from in order to be able to fully walk in my purpose. And again, on this obedient. And so I am again just processing things, trusting the process, and fully trusting God and what it is that He has called me to do. So what obedience isolates when obedience next question is when obedience isolates me, how do I stay grounded in faith and not resentment? Honestly, y'all, I've been through so much in life that I know that it's been nothing but by the grace and the mercy of God that my faith will never, ever waver because one thing about it I know is constant that God has never, ever failed me. Has it been tight? Yes. Has it been challenging? Yes. Have I had some downfalls? Yes. But have I gotten up every single time swinging? Absolutely, because God is with me, in within me, and I will not fail. And so for that, I cannot be resentful as it pertains to my faith in God because I just know how much God has brought me through. And I know that in all that I do, I have to have hope and faith in God to take me to that next level. So that would never, ever be a question when it comes down to it. All right. So again, I'm going to throw some plugs in here. Don't forget to visit my website, www.purposelifecoaching.com for to listen to our podcast episodes. If you want to walk around, like I got products, y'all, I got merch. Your girl got merch. I got t-shirts, long sleeve shirts. I got hoodies, tote bags, coffee mugs, and it says Purpose Life. And it has the metamorphosis of the caterpillar to the butterfly because it actually just talks about trust in the process. You got to crawl before you fly. That's the caterpillar to the butterfly. There's a space in there where the caterpillar has to die to itself. And that's when it morphs into the fullness of what God has called for it to be, which is the butterfly, the moth. And so I actually had that kind of almost like circle. Also letting people know, like, I'm living my purpose life. I am walking in my purpose life. So if you have not already ordered your purpose life merch, go to my shop on my website, check out the merch, order some for yourself, order some for some friends. It is breast cancer month. There's a special one for 10% off of your purchase for any of the products that are pink. So definitely go and support that as well. There's a couple things that we have coming up. If you are looking for something to do and you are here in Georgia, coming to Georgia, I would like to just come and hang out. I am hosting a Friendsgiving Sip and Soul event at Nico's Wine Corner in Snellville on November the 8th from 6 until 8:30. We're going to sip wine, mocktails. We're also going to just have some conversation pieces just about life. And so, ladies, get your girlfriends together. Join me for our Friendsgiving Sip and Soul event on Saturday, November 8th from 6 until 8:30 p.m. And let me throw out there, listen, we are going to Punta Cana on next year. Next year, we are going to Punta Cana. We will be staying at the Royalton Chic, all inclusive adult hotel. We are going to relax, release, and reignite for 2026. We'll be leaving on February the 5th and returning on the 9th, February the 5th through the 9th of 2026. You will also be able to find that information on my website. Again, ladies, this is a time for you to get your girlfriends together. And then, hey, guess what? If you don't have a girlfriend, this girl here has been flying, traveling all over the world solo. Come by yourself. I promise you're going to leave with a friend. Join me on this girls' trip to Punta Cana, February the 5th through the 9th, 2026. The information is on my website. If you have not already gone to follow us on social media, on Facebook, we're at Purpose for Life. Purpose, the number 4 life. On Instagram, TikTok, we are Purpose Life Coaching. And on LinkedIn, you can just put in Purpose Life Coach and you will find me as well. So I wanted to be able to make certain that I shared that information. My friends and my families and those that are my accountability partners always just, kind of tug at me like, girl, you did not put any information about your services and how to find you. So I have given you all the ways that you can connect with me through social media, through my website, through all of the things. And so definitely check me out. Again, I want to be able to hear from you about this episode. Let me know how this episode has touched your life, impacted your life in such a way to where you're now prepared to walk in your purpose by any means necessary, y'all. Don't be afraid. Listen, don't be afraid when I tell you there is the reward and the revelation on the other side of walking in your purpose. When I tell y'all, done, I'm not eating the best. I'm eating better, but I'm not eating the best. I've not exercised as frequent, as consistent as I have. But when I tell you that your girl is down 22 pounds, just from just saying, okay, God, I trust you, and walking away from those things that was holding me down, holding me back, and keeping me stressed out, I'm telling you, I feel so good. So there is reward in the revelation on the other side of obedience and walking in your purpose. So let's talk about it. The next question is, how do I know obedience is producing fruit even when results aren't visible yet? How do I know obedience is producing fruit even when results aren't visible yet? So let me share with y'all really quick. I ended up being on a platform a few weeks ago with Mother, an organization that Purpose Life had partnered with to support with the conversation piece and fashion show held at the Dillard's Mall of Georgia in Beaufort. And in that space, I met or reconnected with an amazing lady by the name of Dr. Nicole Steele that she and I met in 2004, 2025. 21 years ago, we were both sponsors or co-partners for this event that was held at Dillard's, and we reconnected doing the thing that we love, and that is supporting others in the community. And so when Dr. Nicole and I connected, we had to take a selfie. And in that moment, it was just like, let's exchange information. We're going to have to get together, not knowing that a couple of days later, God spoke to her and told her to call me on a Wednesday night to offer me a ticket to come to an event that changed my life. This is when I talk about obedience, the fruit producer. So the seed was being the connection between the organization and Dillard's, because you all know that I have this partnership with Dillard's stores. And so being that connection there, saying, yes, I will support you. I will share information about your organization. And so that was, again, the seeds that were sown. The producing was getting offered a ticket to come to an event that I knew nothing about, that was all about what exactly is that I do, which is the coaching. But on top of that, God gave me, as Wall Street Trapper would say, my 5 rocks. Come on through, David, that knocked out Goliath. It was everything I needed in terms of a blueprint, because I just kind of felt like I was stuck. And so being in the building, being in that room, I got the blueprint to move my coaching business to the next level. And I call it just not just a business, but it's a ministry. But with all of it, I want to be able to be obedient, not only to be the doer of what it is that God is telling me to do, but to be the producer of fruit, so that when I'm saying, girl, not only am I praying for you, but let me bless you with this, I'm able to pray and bless at the same time. And so this has been that fruit producing. I was being obedient. I heard God tell me to hit up a lady, amazing lady by the name of Natasha Simmons through LinkedIn, which that's a whole nother funny story. But she and I met on last week for lunch. And when I tell y'all, it was just life changing conversation, just to know her journey, me sharing my journey, and in that produced a relationship and hopefully a soon to be partnership and some collaborative efforts that both of us have going on to where we can support each other. I can also just talk, I can go on and on and on about the opportunities that have come in being obedient. Even the relationship I kind of tapped a little bit on the dealers and the partnership and being able to travel around to different stores and put on empowerment experiences while also benefiting the store through sales and all the services that they offer. I'm also being important to and empower people that are coming to these events and these experiences. And so there's just a couple of things that I wanted to just be able to share. Like that's when you know that your obedience is producing the fruit, even when the results aren't clear or visible, clearly visible yet. You already know that God, little things that God is just showing you that, like, okay, you keep on, all right, you keep on. Here's a little bit more, here's a little bit more. And so I'm excited to share with you just about how being obedient to walking in your purpose can be so fulfilling. And I know that it's a part of your next level. You just got to let go and you got to let God for real. So, my final question is this: what would I say to someone who's scared to take that next obedience step? I'm telling you, let me start here and say, play this podcast over and over again until it resonates, it hits your spirit, and you say, okay, you know what, now I'm going to jump. Let me tell you why. I'm a single mother of two daughters, now 17, and the other one is 12. I became a single mom when I was pregnant with my youngest one, and my other daughter had just turned 5, went through a divorce, separation and a divorce. I had put in my contract, not even knowing that I was going to be a single mom, single anything, in the beginning of 2013. I did not have a job lined up. I didn't have anything. My last day of work was May the 24th of 2013. I'm pregnant and I got a baby, a 5-year-old that's about to start school in August. I didn't have a job. I didn't have anything. I had a little bit of savings, a little bit retirement, all these bills, stuff that I didn't even know was paid. And I'm like, God, I still trust you. I don't know how I'm going to do it. I don't know how it's going to get done, but God, I trust you. When I tell you that year I was able to put my mortgage through a loan modification, God did it. People were getting their homes foreclosed on, and I was getting an extension for 11 months of forbearance to where I could have some breathing room and still keep my house to be able to raise my daughters in. At that same time, the clients that I had met with through my consultations back from 2008, 9, 10, 11, and 12 that didn't have their money in for services, all of a sudden started calling me and was like, hey, I got my money. I'm ready to set up this group home. I'm ready to set up this assisted living program. I'm ready to set up this non-emergency transportation company. I'm ready for you to come in and audit my files. I'm ready for you to come and inspect my facility. Y'all, money just started, like opportunities just started coming. I'm telling y'all, like I'm talking about, there was nothing left. There was zero tapped out. Like credit score was jacked up because I didn't have any credit. I hadn't had credit cards since 2000. So all these things were happening and I had to solely rely on God. And when I tell you, I got story after story after story after story after testimony that I'm going to be sharing with you throughout the episodes of my podcast of just how obedience is better than sacrifice and just how good God really is and how you have to keep your head on a swivel and trust in God. I know we talked about standing on business, but I'm talking about standing on scripture, on just what it looks like to walk by faith and not by sight. So I am preparing to round off this episode just to let you know, to encourage you to trust the process. So if you've been hesitant to take that next step, let this be your confirmation. Your obedience is the key to unlocking your next level of purpose. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode of Let's Talk on Purpose. Again, if this conversation spoke to you, share it with someone who needs encouragement to keep walking in faith. And remember, your purpose is not a destination, it's a daily decision. Stay obedient, stay purposed, and keep walking in grace. I'm Dr. Shunte. Until next time, keep living your life on purpose.